place. All that being said, is there someone here on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, I am. This is Jillian Roberts.
Hi, Ms. Roberts. Thank you. The screen name doesn't come up as Jillian Roberts, so we weren't quite sure whether that was you or not.
Yeah, sorry about that. I noticed that
that's
too.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
Not a problem at all. At the outset, pursuant to Massachusetts general law, the three members that will be sitting on this hearing, namely Brian Forrestal, Nathan Band, and myself. And I say that with great frustration because we have two very capable associate members, but we have been advised by town council that unless one of the members is not present or is otherwise unable to preside at the hearing, that the three members are required to be the sitting members on the hearing. Our normal process is to ask the applicant to make a presentation of, in this instance, her appeal, open the matter up for questions by members and associate members of the ZBA, and then open the matter up for public comment, and then proceed from there. However, before we do that, I would like to ask Ms. Roberts just a couple of questions of clarification before we go forward, if that's all right.
Yes.
In the material that was attached to the, I guess, the application and what was filed with the ZBA, were email communications dated April 6th between you and the final one between Doug Scott, our building commissioner. And again, that was dated April 6th. And is that the final notification that you received from Mr. Scott about his decision?
Yes, it was. He had approved it a few years ago, but at that time we decided not to put up the sign at that time. Okay. And now this time around, when I applied for it, it was denied.
Okay, I just wanted to double check and make sure there wasn't a subsequent letter with a later date on it than that. And the application to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which was filed, is stamped at the town clerk as being received on May 20th of 2021, which is some 44 days after the building commissioner's denial of the request for a sign. And the reason why I asked these questions to make sure we had the correct dates is that pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 15, it provides, and I quote, "Any appeal under Section 8, which this is," continuing the quote, "to a permit granting authority shall be taken within 30 days from the date of the order or decision which is being appealed. The petitioner shall file a notice of appeal specifying the grounds thereof with the city or town clerk and a copy of said notice, etc." So at the outset, it would appear that your appeal may not have been filed in a timely fashion, and thus we would be prohibited from granting the appeal on that ground
Um,
alone.
oh, sorry. Am I able to respond?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not suggesting that this is
Yes,
over and done. I'm just trying to see where we go and not have everybody go through, a more lengthy process if we've got a problem right at the beginning with an untimely appeal, that's all.
right. I had made sure to submit the application by the deadline, by the 30-day deadline. But I had just asked Emma Snellings if I would be able to push off the ZBA meeting, just so the landlord, Rick, could attend the meeting. So the continuance that I got was a few weeks after the original date. But I believe that because I had checked with the town hall because I was concerned about the deadline, and they had assured me that as long as I got it in by the date that they had said, May 20th, that was in the deadline. Yeah, that's what I was told. I might have that in email. I'd have to check.
Okay. Peter?
I'm wondering if that wasn't the most recent email I had.
No, I know, John, that, Mr. Scott, our commissioner, has worked with, has been working with Jillian on this. And so I understand this is a little bit different from an application for a special permit or a variance. This is an appeal that has to be heard. If obviously the board didn't feel like it was within the legal capacity to hear this, we would have to restart the process and get an updated denial from Doug Scott, and then kind of continue on, I would say.
I welcome comments from other members of the board, but it appears to me that based on what's been submitted and what we have before us, that very clearly the time in which to file the appeal was not filed in a timely fashion. And I don't see how we can go forward in considering the merits of the appeal with that. I know that frequently when I have seen denials from Mr. Scott, they've been in written, letter form on Town of Ashland stationery and not via email. And that's why I had asked whether there was a subsequent communication from Mr. Scott. It would strike me, I don't like to say that, due to a technicality that someone cannot have, their appeal heard. But I think under the law, it's very clear that if it's not within 30 days, we're out. And I don't think the town planning department has any legal authority to extend that 30-day period. Certainly we can work on, dates for the hearing and what have you, but I mean, it strikes me that we're in a bit of a bind here about how to proceed. I suppose one thing that could be done, and hopefully we could do it perhaps without any further financial impact upon the applicant, would be to allow the applicant to withdraw the application without prejudice, have Mr. Scott issue a formal letter basically saying what he said in his email, but doing it in a more formal document, and then having the applicant file the appeal and get back here.
John, if I could just respond as well, I do remember now when I did speak with the planning department with filing this. Now I'm remembering that was not our most recent like email conversation. I remember them saying that our most recent email exchange would serve as the date that we could use for that 30-day deadline. I do understand what you were saying as well. I just wanted to clarify that I'm just trying to pull it up on my email. But I do remember the planning department advising me of that. So as far as I was aware,
I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just, going by what we have before us and how we can go forward.
I understand.
If you, I suppose, well, we could do what I had suggested might be possible if the other members of the board wish to do that or agreed that we could do that, or we could continue the matter for 2 weeks until our next meeting. And in the interim, you can find the email correspondence, and Peter might have an opportunity to check the planning department files. Unfortunately, Emma is going to be out of the office for a while, so we won't be able to have her assistance with this. But, assuming that the documentation is as you say, and we have it and we can enter it into the record and we solve the 30-day problem, we could proceed in 2 weeks. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Nathan?
Yeah, I think a 2-week continuance makes a lot of sense. Our hands are on what we have, so.
Sure. Ms. Roberts, is that okay with you? And
oh, yeah,
in the interim, you can forward the email trail when you find it to Peter, and Peter will distribute it to the rest of the board and file it online with in the town website where the hearing papers are commanded. Chuck, you okay with this? Okay, Chuck's nodding yes. And Stu?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do that then? How about if somebody makes a motion to continue the matter until Tuesday,
August 24th.
August 20th, thank you. August 24th at 7 p.m. Did I hear such a motion?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay. I, John Trefethen, vote in favor.
Aye, Brian Forrestall, vote in favor.
Nathan Band in favor.
Aye, Chuck Reed in favor.
I, Stuart Siegel, am in favor.
Okay, very good. Then this matter is continued until Tuesday, August 24th. And in the meantime, Ms. Roberts, as soon as you find those email trails or any other documentation that you want to submit, please get it along to Peter Matchik, and he will distribute it to the board. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay. I see some names on the screen, and I just want to, that may not have been here when we took up the first matter, and I will just repeat what we decided to do, and that has to do with the 46 and 56 Fountain Street request for a variance and special permit. As we indicated at the outset of the meeting, the applicant's counsel had requested a continuance to our first meeting in September, and the board voted to grant the request for a continuance with the stipulation that there would be no further continuances allowed after that. So you're welcome to stay on if you're here for other matters or just to enjoy listening to us, but I wanted to just make sure nobody was waiting for that to come up and not be heard. Okay, moving along to the next item on our agenda, which is item number 4 on the agenda, a public hearing on a special permit request for 511 Main Street. And I will read the notice. The Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021, to hear the petition of Joseph and Elaine Donovan requesting a special permit per Chapter 40A, Section 10 of the Massachusetts Zoning Act, and Chapter 282, Section 3.3, parenthesis, non-conforming uses and structures, close parenthesis, and 9.3, parenthesis, special permits, close parenthesis, of the Ashland bylaws to allow for the construction of an addition on a pre-existing non-conforming structure which encroaches on the side yard setback. The property in question is located at 511 Main Street, Assessors Map 20, Lot 248, in the Residential B zoning district. Parties wishing to be heard in this matter should appear at the time and place indicated above. Is there someone here on behalf of the applicant?
Unmute. There we are. Yes.
Okay, I say you. Thank you. Okay, at the and if you'd be kind enough, just for the record, to identify yourself, please.
Yes. Elaine Donovan.
Joe Donovan.
Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Donovan. Again, as I said prior to the last hearing, members that will be sitting on this hearing are Brian Forrestal, Nathan Band, and myself. And again, the way we will proceed is we have received the documents that were filed with the Department of Planning and are on the website. We'll ask the applicant to make a presentation for their request. The matter will be open to all board members and associate members to ask questions of the applicants, and then we will open the matter up to public comment. With that being said, I will turn it over to you, Mr. and Mrs. Donovan.
Yes, we have an existing deck, approximately 6 by 8, which I want to make it to a full shed addition at 9 by 12. And a small deck adjacent to that, going off of that. My neighbor has no problem with me doing this, although it isn't confining with the zoning, clients.
Mhm.
We need this done. Medical issues, being my wife has problems with the stairs down the basement, with laundry, whatever. So we want access at a level plane.
If I understand correctly, then the addition is going to be built where there presently is a deck,
Yes,
and the deck is going to be removed?
yes,
Okay. And the deck is to the rear of your property, is that right?
oh, it's to the right.
On the
To the right.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the side?
And we want to add another small deck off of that.
But that would be in the back.
It's going towards the back, 6 by 8.
Okay.
You have the drawings, sir?
I do have the drawings. I must say, I'm not an expert when it comes to reading the drawings. We rely upon Brian's expertise for that,
Sure.
having been in the contracting business. And I did have just a little question about where it was going, but just stepping back, I mean, it is a pre-existing non-conforming use, as all of the homes are along that section of Main Street. And there are two existing nonconformities at the moment. The frontage is 13 feet plus or minus, and the side is 10 feet. Is that right?
Yes, it's solely like that. It is what it is.
No, I understand, but that's what was submitted as part of the mortgage inspection
Yes.
plan that was conducted. So you've got about 10 feet of side yard, and you want to build a
9 by 12.
9 by 12 so that there would be basically 1 foot between the end of the addition and your property line. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yes, but it's what's not noted on the plot plan or whatever is that there's a significant amount of space in between, probably like 50 feet in between my neighbor and myself. So what's existing right now is I'm looking for a 3-foot bump out off of the right side of my house. And my neighbor has no problem with that.
Okay, what are you talking about 3 feet off of the existing deck?
We have a deck
Right.
that is 6 feet. I want to go another 3 feet with an addition.
Okay. Is the deck shown on the
It is on the drawings, yes.
so
We have
that
existing conditions, yeah.
so you've got 10 feet from the existing deck
On the
to your property line.
the existing deck is
No, we have 10 feet from the house, right?
Yeah.
From the house, not from the deck.
Yeah, but-
So you're talking about 3 feet.
3
From
feet
the
in
deck.
additional. Okay. Okay, I
Yes,
understand.
exactly.
Okay. Brian, any questions?
Yes, I'm looking at the plans that were, I think, it was the application to the zoning board. Is there a different set of plans somewhere that I can see better? Because what it shows for the plot plan, I don't know if that's existing or proposed.
I submitted the plot plans and drawings. I have architecturals.
Yeah, I see those.
Okay,
But
you
I
see
don't-
the existing ones?
Wait,
Yeah, I see the existing, it says NF Casey on it, and it says a wood 2 stories, number 511. And I see that you have 10 feet to the lot line and 13 to the street. And so you're trying to build on the right side where there's 10 feet?
right.
Okay, and how many feet are you planning to build off of the structure?
9 feet.
9, so you would have 1 foot to the lot line?
Yep.
Okay, and what's preventing you from building off the back of the home where you have plenty of room, it seems, to stay in compliance and all?
It will not work for my plans. for example, I plan on having access to a laundry room there, right? We have a laundry down the basement right now,
Yeah,
okay? I can't go outboard, inboard towards the wetlands. Okay, we've already went through a conservation issue with building this, okay?
okay,
So we want to go from the right side, okay, of the house, right? I'm sorry about just the company.
Not to worry.
I'm sorry.
Just putting in his 2 cents worth.
Yes, yes. I'm so sorry.
Not to worry. It's okay.
I can continue now. I went to a lot of effort to get these drawings, comprehensive drawings. And all I want to do is go picture this like a 6-foot deck. I want to go another 3 feet to the right of the house, which would enhance the visibility of the house itself. You know, it would clean everything up. It'll be more efficient for me and my wife to function. I don't want to have her get out of the basement, you know, under her conditions, you know.
yeah, I understand that. For sure.
I don't know how much more info you want from me, you know. It's just
Well, we're just trying to get everything as clear in
Sure.
our minds as we can.
yeah.
When you say you went before the Conservation Commission, that is something recent?
Yes, it was
Okay.
previously. I in the application process, it said if it's not conforming to, you know,
Right.
I went to a hearing with them,
Mm-hmm.
and then Doug said, let's go for a special permit, okay? And I filed with you guys.
Okay. So basically, you're looking to extend out another 3 feet
Yes.
from the deck, which is already there. And
Yes.
having driven by the property and looked at it, as you mentioned, the adjacent property, 507 Main
Yes.
Street,
Uh-huh.
has a rather large frontage.
Yes.
And between that house and your house, or your property line, look like a couple of very large trees and a fairly large lawn.
Correct. There's plenty of room there, and my neighbor is no problem with us doing this. No, I'm taking 3 feet of what's this existing deck, you know. So
Okay.
that's the last half of this whole process. I've been trying to complete this,
No,
rebuild a nice house, and this is the last phase I want to do,
Mhm.
and dress it up and make it look nice, and be more efficient for me and my wife.
Well, I know that our building commissioner Mr. Scott, in his letter of June 15th of this year, indicating that he would have to come before the Zoning Board of Appeals, set forth what we have to decide as a board in order to grant a special permit, is that we would have to decide that allowing such extension or alteration of change to the pre-existing non-conforming use, we can only vote to approve that if the proposed modification will not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure to the neighborhood.
Certainly.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I know, just speaking for myself and not with respect to your particular application, but in general, I am very reluctant to allow the side yard requirement to be shortened to only one foot. That to me seems extraordinary, except in this instance, in your instance, obviously, having looked at the two properties side by side, there is a fairly large open yard. And you said you've spoken to your neighbor?
He was just here, actually. He just knocked on the door. He was just here.
Oh, if you could
Logan.
get him back, we could ask him a question.
Oh,
Okay, Logan.
yeah, okay, sorry.
I guess, and again, I'm only talking for myself. I don't know
Sure.
how the other members of the board would feel. But obviously, if there is some confirmation from your neighbor, either in writing or orally at this hearing, that they don't object to it, that may play a role in what we decide. Obviously, if it was a situation where the neighbor was adamantly opposed to it, that might be something else.
Sure.
Brian and
all.
Nathan, am I going down a path on this that I shouldn't be going down, or?
In my opinion, John, I believe you are. Well, I'm sure that both parties involved are very nice people and deserve to have a larger home and laundry upstairs. We're setting precedent by saying, the neighbor said it's okay, so we can ignore or bypass the zoning laws. And then, when that house sells, either one of them, and something comes up, it'll come back and say, well, the zoning board of appeals said it was okay. And so the neighbor across the street or the next street over is going to say, well, they did it over there because the neighbor said. And it's really, I wish I could say yes, but I don't feel comfortable saying yes because it's setting a bad precedent for the board.
I have no neighbors. I have Kitty Federal, Main Street, and wetlands. I have one neighbor.
I understand, Mr. Donovan. I'm
The
just saying that.
precedent you're setting, like, really, how could they possibly, how are we setting any precedent,
Well, the precedent would be that we said you could do it, and they're going to say, well, you told him he could do it.
So you said, I can't do it because I'm setting precedent.
Okay.
So this is a hardship issue. Okay, it's a hardship issue. She needs access. She can't do the stairs, the basement, right?
Okay.
It really is, okay? And I'll probably be petitioning for a handicap ramp soon, okay?
This is Logan.
Logan, how are you? Sit down, my friend. This is
Hello.
Logan, my next door neighbor.
Hello.
Hi, sir. Could you identify yourself just for the record, please?
Yes. My name is Logan. Logan Chen. I am the resident at 507 Main Street.
Okay. Are you the owner of 507?
Yes, I am the owner.
Okay. And we're here on Mr. and Mrs. Donovan's request for a special permit to build an extension on the side of the house, their house, which would go within 1 foot of the property line between your two properties. And he had indicated that you had no opposition to that. And we asked if, he had something in writing from you, and he had mentioned that you had just been there. So
Yeah.
I somewhat flippantly perhaps said, well, go get him and bring him back. And Mrs. Donovan was kind enough to do that. So you have no.
I have no opposition to that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anything
I think.
else?
Does anybody have any questions for Logan?
Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
No
Logan.
problem.
Thanks again
Thank
for
you,
the
Logan.
peaches.
Later tonight, can we talk about the window? Thank you.
Nathan,
Yes.
your thoughts?
I tend to think that I understand Brian's concern about creating precedent, and I think that's something we want to be sensitive to. At the same time, I think the Zoning Board of Appeals, really exists to address cases that are non-conforming, and if we're not going to allow anything non-conforming for fear of precedent, then what are we doing here?
Well, I tend to agree with that, and I think, as I indicated, setting aside this particular situation, but a request to build something within a 1 foot of the property line. Normally, I would not be in favor of, and in fact, we have denied claims applications when there was more than 1 foot. This neighborhood strikes me as similar in some respects, zoning wise, to other neighborhoods, some other neighborhoods that we have in Ashland. There is the neighborhood off of Route 126 that I think is near Lake Washington, where the entire neighborhood was developed before zoning. So basically every lot in the neighborhood is non-conforming, and we've had to deal with several applications dealing with that and the extending of non-conforming uses. The neighborhood that Mr. and Mrs. Donovan is a fairly short neighborhood on Main Street across from the former Kid Fenwell. I'm not quite sure what it's called now, but that plant and all of that area. And I know there's a great deal of wetland behind it. And as you face the Donovan's property to the left, you start to go up the hill on Main Street, and it's mostly, it looks like woodland and wetland in there.
It's
And
all wetland, yes.
And to the right, there is the neighbor's house, and then beyond that is another house somewhat further down. All the houses are fairly close together. None of them appear to meet the requirements for frontage. From a visual point of view, I couldn't tell where the Donovan's property line ended and their neighbor's property line started. There's no fence, and there's just this fairly large
Antiquated.
grass field with a couple of, especially one very large
One very large
tree in it that would not be affected by what the Donovan's request. So in that sense, I think when we deal with these neighborhoods that basically precede the zoning laws, we should treat them in a different way than a neighborhood that was basically constructed after the zoning laws came into effect and people knew what the zoning law was and what their property was. And I guess it's my way of saying, I think to me, this is this is an exception that I think if we were to allow the extension or alteration, it would not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure to the neighborhood. And that is the term, to the neighborhood, not to the town. And focusing on what the neighborhood is, as I said, it would seem to me that allowing the extension would not be more detrimental or substantial, not substantially, but even more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure. I mean, that's my thought on it. And I know, it's perhaps technically the fact what the nature of the hardship is, which was adequately expressed in their application. We don't need to go into it. Perhaps doesn't or shouldn't make a difference, but in my mind, I view it differently than if somebody wanted a special permit to put a pool in, a swimming pool, in-ground pool in, and needed to impact the side or rear yard requirements. I would look upon that, I think, in a different way. So, my inclination, I think, under all of the circumstances, with this neighborhood, with these applicants, I would be in favor of granting the special permit.
It would be wonderful.
Well, you need 3 out of 3 votes. So, and we haven't started to vote. We're just discussing, the issues at this point. Brian, any further thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just concerned. I think it's a great idea, and I wish I could go along with the whole thing. But if 507 Main Street sells next week, and that person decides they want to put an addition on their house to within 10 feet of their lot line, which they're in, can do, that leaves 11 feet between the houses. And I'm not talking about tomorrow, but next year. I mean, once the Donovans build their addition, it's there. And as things move on in time, it just seems problematic to me. Because it's unanimous, if you and Nathan want to approve it, I would be inclined to go along with it, but I don't think it's a good idea. And not because the Donovans don't deserve it. I understand the hardship. I just, we're kind of really bending the rules.
Nathan, your thoughts?
I think your point about the standard being neighborhood specific is well taken. And the fact that there's already an existing deck that comes within 3 feet of the property line, 4 feet of the property line, whatever it is, leads me to feel that the difference between a deck within 3 feet and a structure within 1 feet probably is not significantly or substantially more detrimental. That's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
Okay, I would agree with you. Okay, well, we've asked questions of the Donovans, but we have not opened the matter to public comment. We certainly had an ample time to talk about it amongst ourselves, but let me open the hearing for public comment. If there is anyone here who would like to be heard.
Okay, the dressing seems to weak, which is expected. She's nervous about it.
I'm not quite sure what all that was, but please raise your hand and Peter will allow you in on a person by person opportunity. I see Mr. DeSoni appears to be raising his hands. Is there anyone else, Peter, who has indicated a desire to speak?
No, Chairman, only Mr. DeSoni, and I had to I muted Mr. Melanson, I believe. So Mark DeSoni, please come to the floor.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Mark DeSoni, 49 Hawthorne Road. Interesting discussion and trying to work as a two-way street to come in the middle to compromise and to work with what's going on. But I'm inclined to be in full agreement with Brian Forresto about the president about this. It may that street may come before zoning, but still, any other ones that come in, any newer that will come in on that street, would that have the same effect as a presidential or anyone that would move in? To the Donovans, yes, you do need an extension, and it's only going to be a foot. It's going to be kind of tough. And that Logan man that came in, your next door neighbor, is being really friendly and neighbor and agreeable. So that's the positive part of it. But still, overall, it's the project itself. And if it's non-conforming with a maybe pre-zoning, this has got to be the hardest part about the whole decision. And Brian, I'm going the way your direction is, because can't have really much of a precedent. And nothing against the Donovans or to you, Mr. Chairman, but it's kind of tough to say yes or no. Could it happen? But you're gonna have to answer to the rest of the town in case something else comes up like this maybe on a, as per se, paper road that is not that has no houses yet. So this put it on the extension of the deck, and everybody's being kumbaya about it. But unfortunately, I'm gonna go with Brian on his president way of doing things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeSoni. Is there anyone else who asked to be heard?
Yes, Dawn Melanson, I believe. Please step forward.
Hi, it's actually Suzanne Melanson.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm using my dad's iPad. I'm actually on here to help another neighbor out, but I really don't understand the issue. The owner of the property said yes, it's to help his wife out. It's a situation that I think absolutely warrants it, and I don't understand how there would be any pause in having a positive motion for that.
Thank you, Susan. Correct.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? If not, let me back up because I was delinquent. I had not asked for Stu or Chuck for their thoughts on this matter because we are not voting. We are simply discussing it. And so I welcome either of your or both of your comments and thoughts on this matter.
Well, I've been listening closely to the various discussions, and I'm very much in favor of granting the variance. One of the main reasons is I looked online from the Google picture of the street, and there's so much space between the two houses right now that this is going to make no significant difference to the neighborhood one bit, and it totally benefits the Ashland residents both. And if I was voting, I would say, I would vote yes. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Chuck. Stu, any thoughts on the matter? You're on mute.
From an economic and a health point of view, granting the request is, in this day and age, it seems, I'm sympathetic to doing that. And I still can understand the concern that Brian is expressing, and also the other people that spoke against the proposal. But you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I guess I value the economic times that we have and the health issues that are circulating. So I would probably be in favor of it.
Okay. Thank you, Stu. Well, I think as I've indicated, and I agree, this is not an easy decision, only because the statute says, is in black and white, but real life is not in black and white.
If I could just say one thing.
Whoops, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry, Mrs. Donovan. I wasn't sure who was talking for a moment.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to just
No,
jump
that's all
in.
right.
I just wanted to say, and it really doesn't have any impact on the being a foot away from the neighbor, but I would like to say that it's our hope that it would actually enhance the neighborhood. I mean, if any of you have looked at the property and the current deck, that would need to be replaced soon anyways, and the side of the house, this addition would only enhance not just our property, but our neighbor's property and so forth. So I just, there was thrown out there as far as enhancing. I'd just like to say that it is our hope that it would enhance the neighborhood compared to what is currently there. And I know that's not necessarily what we're negotiating, but I just thought as a final word, I wanted to just put that out there.
Thank you. Peter, it looks like somebody's waiting to be admitted. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, normally what we do, if the members of the board that are going to vote on the matter, and again, that is Brian, Nathan, and myself, are in agreement, we request that, in this case, Peter draft a decision in accordance with what we have discussed and decided on, and we come back at our next meeting to review the draft decision and take a formal vote on the hearing and the application. As I've indicated, I would vote in favor of granting the special permit on the finding that the proposed alteration and addition is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what is here. If I understood Nathan to be correctly, and Nathan, please correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan would concur with that vote. And I'm looking for Brian on the screen and I don't see him, so.
I'm
Oh,
here.
you know, you couldn't have, it's like hitting me in the face. You were so close to me there. Brian, what do you want to do?
If the two of you say yes, I'm reluctantly going to go along. It goes against my rule following side of me, but if you two are in agreement, I'll go along with it.
Okay, thank you. Peter, with that being said, if we continue this matter for 2 weeks, will you be able to draft a decision based upon what our discussion has been tonight in order that we can vote on that? I know that with Emma's being out for a while, you're going to be under siege back at the planning department, but is 2 weeks going to be enough time?
Chairman, 2 weeks is plenty of time. I'll draft the decision and we can move forward in 2 weeks.
Okay. That being said, I would entertain a motion to continue the hearing to Tuesday, August 24th at 7 p.m. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
I, John Trefethen, vote in favor.
Hi, Brian Forrestall, vote in favor.
Nathan Band in favor.
Chuck and Stu?
Chuck Green, vote in favor.
I, Stu Siegel, would also vote in favor.
Very good. Mr. and Mrs. Donovan, let me just explain what we have done. We voted to continue the hearing for 2 weeks to come back on August 24th. In the meantime, Peter Matchik, the town planner, is going to draft a decision which he'll send to the board members for us to review. And then at the meeting on August 24th, we will discuss the draft decision and take a formal vote. But based upon our discussion this evening amongst the board members, the vote will be in favor to grant the special permit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, that concludes this matter for this evening, and we will see you folks back on August 24th.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on to last but not least on our agenda is a public hearing requesting a special permit for 43 Cutler Drive. And I'll read the notice. The Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals will hold and open a public hearing on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021 to hear the petition of Catherine Cooper requesting a special permit per Chapter 40A, Section 9 of the Massachusetts Zoning Act and Chapter 282, Sections 3.1, parenthesis, principal uses, close parenthesis, 3.2, parenthesis, accessory uses, close parenthesis, and 9.3, special permits of the Ashland bylaws to allow for the operation of a dog grooming business. The property in question is located at 43 Cutler Drive, Assessors Map 10, Lot 46, in the RA zoning district, and parties wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place indicated above. Okay, that being said, we have the application and a written statement of the relief sought and other documentation. Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
I am Kathy Cooper.
Nice
and
to
I'm
see
Nicole Clinton.
Nice to see you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
at the outset, let me just ask this. The application that is before us says application for planning board approval / permit. And we are the zoning board of appeals, and not the planning board. So we're before the right place, I'm pretty sure. Okay. And the forms are basically very similar, so I don't think there's any change. Anybody on the board have any problems with proceeding with the application being filed on a planning board approval permit?
No, I don't have a problem.
None.
Good. Okay, well, as I have indicated before in previous proceedings, the way we will conduct this, we'll entertain the applicant to state her position, the relief she is seeking. The board members will have an opportunity to ask questions, and then we will open it up for public comment. And that being said, Ms. Cooper, I will, I guess, turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate everybody giving us this opportunity to try to work things out here at our house. We've been residents of Ashland for a good 30 years, and we've raised 5 children in this house. This is my daughter, Nicole, and who's lived here obviously off and on over the years. We're looking to try to recover some income. It's been really tough these past couple of years. She's an incredible groomer and has a change in her location right now, and I'm hoping that maybe we can work together to try to help each other. There's a great demand for dog grooming, and it's a simple thing that can be done in anyone's bathroom, as I know everybody can attest to if you have a dog. So
But
it
gets dirty.
It gets dirty, but it gets dirty. So we're okay with my husband and I, Kenneth Cooper, who's also with Judy Ellis there. We're also we want to see if this would work for a while. We're hoping that eventually it won't remain here. I don't want to have this here forever, but for a short term, it will help us both and be something that our neighbors will be happy to enjoy and use. It's just going to be a small business for, like I say, just a short while.
It's a startup.
Yeah, a startup, and then hopefully she moves on to something bigger and better, which would also continue to help us as a family. So we're looking just to get by for a short while while we get some income, some savings, and move on, and the bigger and better. Maybe some questions. So
it appears that 43 Cutler Drive is in an RA district, and if you look at our Ashland zoning code under accessory uses, because the primary use of the property is your home, an accessory use, home occupation, is something that is allowed. And section 3.2.1 of the zoning board indicates that home occupations are permitted if no more than 25% of the floor area of the residence is used for the occupation, that not more than one person not a member of the household is employed on the premises in the occupation, that there is no exterior display or storage or other variation from the residential character of the premises. The traffic generated does not exceed that normally expected in a residential neighborhood, and that all parking required to service the occupation is provided off-street other than within a required front yard. That being said, let me just ask you a couple of questions to just sort of confirm that your proposed business would fall within these requirements. What is the square footage of the home? I tried to determine that, and Brian, you and Nathan, you can, chip in on this from the residential property record card attached. And I apologize if there's feedback. I don't know whether it's coming from me or somebody else, but I'm hearing myself talk. In any event, trying to determine the square footage, and the only thing I see is 1,144 square feet. Brian, is it more than that from the plans that are submitted? I'm looking, it says basement area 1144, but there's nothing. And the only reason I ask this is that in order, we sort of need to know what that 25% figure would be. If we use just the 1,144 square feet, then 25% would be 286 square feet, which would be the maximum that the business could occupy. And I know in the in your description of relief sought, you estimate that the footage used for the tub and table is going to be 7 by 10 feet approximately. So you would seem to be well within that, even using the 1,144 square foot figure.
I don't know if Brian answered, but he was muted. I just want to say.
I'm
I
sorry.
know
if I
that,
did-
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was muted. The Mass GIS says it's 2,002 square feet.
Okay, good.
okay.
So that
Yeah, we're
would-
just going to be using a small.
I mean,
Yeah.
1,144 certainly didn't seem to be correct. Well, that would give you a 500 square foot, so you would seem to be well within that. My understanding is, based on your proposal, that no one other than a household member is going to be working in the business. Is that correct?
Well, myself, my husband, and Nicole, my daughter, who does not live here at this time, but we'll be working together. And that's it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and my other daughter, she's 19 and lives here.
Yeah, I mean, I do
Okay.
everything myself, but there's help.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, that's fine.
It's
You
available.
would qualify. You would qualify. There's not going to be any signage or other storage
we
or
don't need
anything
that.
on the outside of the property or in the yard.
Nope.
And I know Cutler Drive is basically a half moon shaped road with an entrance, and your property is sort of at the midpoint of the half moon, approximately.
We're down towards the eastern end of, I say we're closer to the eastern side.
You're not anticipating that there'll be traffic beyond what would normally be expected in a residential neighborhood?
Correct. We have a 6-car driveway. We don't expect to have one person here, more than one person at a time. Just because it's just that's not how it works. And, you know, so it'd be, yeah, one car and then later on another car.
Every couple of hours.
Yeah.
Brian, any questions? Oops, you're on mute.
No questions.
Where did you read all the specifications, John, for this? You're reading?
Oh, on section, it's chapter 282, section 3.2.3. I'm sorry, 3.2.1. I may have said 3.2.3 by mistake earlier.
Thank you.
Nathan, any questions for the Coopers?
No questions.
Okay. And Brian, any questions for the Coopers at this point?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Chuck, how about you? Any questions for the Coopers?
None. Thanks.
And Stu, any questions for the Coopers?
No, sir.
Okay. Very good. I will open the matter up for public comment. So if anyone would like to be heard, please raise your hand, and Peter will invite you to speak to the meeting. Looks like we have.
Yeah, excuse me, Chairman. We have 2 people raising their hands. The first was Miss Melanza. Please unmute.
Oops, you're on mute, Ms. Melanson. Nope, still on mute.
Okay,
There
can
we
you hear
go.
me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I've lived at 55 Cutler Drive for the past 7 years. My dogs are actually groomed by this wonderful human being. And I can assure you, I probably have more cars at my driveway than she'll ever have at hers. But it's a quiet little horseshoe, like you said, and you know, she generally does one dog at a time. She is very professional. I can't say enough good things about her, and I applaud her going for this.
Very good, thank you. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. And anyone else, Peter?
Yeah.
Whoops, you're on mute, Peter.
Excuse me, Chairman. The second person with their hand raised was Laura Caris.
Hi. Yep. So I basically want to oppose this business because me and my husband and I, he's here, and we bought this house because it was a quiet horseshoe, and we bought it because we liked the neighborhood and how quiet it was and how no one comes down the street unless we really have to. And we've lived here for 24 years, so I know Kathy very well, and we, you know, get along great and everything. But I do oppose the business because it is a quiet street. We raised 5 kids here, and I'm having grandchildren now, so I want my women to, enjoy the neighborhood also. We do walks on the street, and we can only assume that these generally bring down property values on this road. So I don't want that to happen. I'm at the point where I'm trying to, think of my house as an investment, and I really I understand that they had said that it's going to be temporary. Most of the time when these things start and you alter your house, it's usually something that continues. And I just want to put my opinion and my husband's opinion out there, because we don't want the extra traffic and the extra people on the road.
What
Thank
extra
you.
traffic?
From
Oops.
the people coming.
One dog at a time at her house.
Yeah,
That's extra traffic.
Yeah.
Please, please, no comments or questions back and forth. If there's a question to be asked, please ask me, and I will relay the question to the applicant. But that's how the meeting will be conducted.
So, John, can I please jump in?
You certainly may.
So we have, I'm sorry, I believe our third person with their hand raised is Miss Judy Ellis. Miss Judy Ellis, please unmute.
Yes, I am here. I am the owner and resident at 46 Cutler Drive, which is directly across the street from the Cooper's home. We have known them for the whole time they've been here. Absolutely nothing to complain about. They're wonderful people. They're trying to make their way in this crazy world that we live in. And I see no problem at all with this. Nicole has taken care of my dog as well, and she does a great job. I just would love to have this right across the street, and I see no disruption to the neighborhood at all.
Thank you. Peter, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Under the bylaws, a home occupation is allowed in the RA district. And under 3.2, it's allowed as an accessory use. And in 3.2, in 3.2.1, it references home occupations and what's required in order to be able to have a home occupation. I couldn't find anything where it requires a special permit from the ZBA to grant a home occupation that appears to be allowed as of right. Am I missing something?
I'm just going to pull up the definition for a home occupation. Excuse me.
Okay.
If that's the case, I can get a zoning ruling on this matter from the building commissioner and/or council. And here's the definition for this, John, Chairman. A business or professional engagement in which a dwelling by a, within a dwelling by a resident, therefore as a use accessory thereto. So it's a little bit non-specific personally. And for this instance, for the best use of this application, I am willing to, engage the building commissioner to get a reasoning of a special permit, therefore, in relationship to the home occupation, if that would be a request of you.
I mean, I probably should have raised this point at the very outset and not after we had gone forward. But I looked, quite extensively this afternoon, and I couldn't find anything that said you need a a special permit for this. If, as long as the accessory use comes within what the bylaw says is allowed. And the definition that you read of home occupation isn't terribly helpful, but would certainly not indicate that we would need a special permit. So, I mean, I for one would feel more comfortable getting an opinion from someone, be it our building commissioner or our town council or someone, that a special permit is allowed, because is required. I would hate to deny a special permit when a special permit isn't allowed, and, you know, allowing a special permit when one isn't necessary doesn't strike me as being good municipal management.
I do not disagree with you, Chairman. And if you would allow, I will talk to and communicate with the building commissioner, and I will ask him to draft an opinion on the application of the special permit, and I can therefore present this board that opinion at the next meeting.
Brian and Nathan, what do you think about proceeding in that way?
I agree that we should proceed that way. If we're not sure it's needed, there's no sense in approving one.
Nathan?
Yeah, I think kind of the crux of this is whether or not this business meets the home occupation definition. I think that's what I'd like to get some guidance on.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I don't see what other accessory use would allow it.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, and Mr. Scott's going to be available within the next 2 weeks to consider this?
Yes.
Okay. I know in the summertime, vacations oftentimes interfere with normal scheduling. Okay. Ms. Cooper, what we're going to do is continue the matter for 2 weeks until our next hearing date on August 24th to determine whether we have to make a decision on a special permit or whether we don't. And having said that, would someone like to make a motion to continue this matter to Tuesday, August 24th at 7 p.m.?
So move.
Is there a second? Okay. I, John Trefethen, vote in favor.
I, Brian Forrestall, vote in favor.
I, Nathan Band, vote in favor.
I, Chuck Green, vote in favor.
I, Stu Siegel, also vote in favor.
Very good. Then this matter is continued until Tuesday, August 24th at 7 p.m. And thank you for everyone who participated in the hearing and listened to all of our exciting prior matters before we got to this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will now go on to the next item on the agenda, which we will do as soon as I find it. I believe it's minutes, but I don't think we have any minutes to review and approve. So we will skip that and go on to staff updates and administrative matters. Peter, anything we should hear at this point on that?
Nothing in great particular distance. Obviously, with minutes in the in having Emma out of the office, that was something that I have to kind of double back on since I'm.
I mean, no problem. I mean, I don't know. There's no problem on that.
There's nothing too terribly crazy. The planning board is very busy right now. I can tell you that much from a staff perspective. We have 2 big cases. Number one, the Mendez School project, which is over at 90 Concord Street. That's in the permitting with the planning board right now for site plan approval, special permit. And then also we have the Village of the Americas, which is phase 7, which is a old project left over from the original master plan development, which dates back to 2002, which has some kind of twists and turns in it. But hopefully, you know, it's in front of the planning board and they can.
Not for us to have to worry about.
Not for you to have to worry about. So I
Most
can tell
importantly.
You that, you know, for any matters in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals, I think you guys handled them well tonight. Regarding 56 Fountain Street, John, I will write a letter to the applicant's attorney asking him that, well, stating this is the last and final continuance and that we need to move forward in a direction at the September meeting. And I will send that via certified mail for a record of the board and for that file. But no, regarding matters in front of the ZBA, I would say which were in front of the ZBA is the 40B Arbella at Ashland. That decision was filed with the town clerk. And I sent that over to DHCD. And so right now the 20-day appeal period is ticking away, I would say. And we're just waiting for that 20-day appeal period to expire. I would say. So
very good.
Everything is good. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, you can please contact me in the office. I am going to be acting as the direct line of communication for all zoning matters for the foreseeable future. I think everybody knows here, Emma is doing great. She welcomes.
You know, we are still on public
and I do not
TV
want to
and
go
going
into
out, so we may not want to discuss that, but she's doing well. That's the important
doing
thing.
well. Yes.
Okay.
So thank you so much. And
Excellent.
with that said, I think we should end the meeting.
And I will thank WACA for joining the meeting and recording it as well. And is there a motion to end the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second to adjourn?
I'll second the motion.
I, John Trefethan, vote in favor to adjourn.
I, Brian Forrest, I'll vote in favor.
I, Nathan Band, in favor.
Aye, Chuck Green, vote in favor.
I, Stu Siegel, also vote in favor.
Excellent. We will see everybody on August 24th. Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night.